on, everyone, and welcome back. It's been a little while, and as you can see, I've moved. There's some boxes over there that you guys can see and stuff of that sort, but I'm going to start making videos again. I kind of wanted to, and then I had to figure out my microphone thing, and I have to get the setup re-established, but this is a video in the interim because the Premier League starts tomorrow. So, got to get the predictions out before the first game starts. I want to start doing this every year now just because I've started following the Premier League a little bit more, playing FIFA, all that sort. Anyway, I will be doing FIFA videos very soon, even if my setup's not complete. Basically, I needed to wait for this microphone. I had to figure out a way to get this off of it because it was stuck. My mic stand doesn't work well. Oh well. We're going to jump into my Premier League table predictions. And this is coming from someone who doesn't watch all the Premier League games, but I try and follow as much as I can. So I'm just going to kind of just throw out the table from 20 to number 1 and go from there. Also, it is good to note I am a Liverpool fan, so there's going to be a little bit of bias. That's just how it happens. It's not possible to have no bias when you're doing these kind of things. Also, these are all dependent on what the teams look like now as of August 10th. But also depending on how their situation looks like it's going to be. So in terms of like Sigurdsson, he's leaving Swansea basically at this point. Or I'm going to say the term Van Dijk is going to end up at Liverpool. We'll see if that actually happens. I'm hoping. But without further ado, the team I think is going to finish in 20th. Last place in the Premier League is going to go back down. It's going to be Brighton, which is a shame because they just came up. But I don't know. They haven't made a lot of changes. They've brought in a bunch of people, but teams that come through from the Champions League 1 to the Premier League always do. I just don't feel like they've strengthened up enough. I feel like they're going to end up in 20th and go right back down. In 19th, I'm going to lay Swansea there. And this is basically because I feel like Sigurdsson's going to leave, and he's been carrying that club kind of single-handedly almost just for years. And I feel like if you have someone who makes team of the season and you are not a good club and you lose that person, chances are you're going to be in a much worse position, which you'll see for someone coming up soon in this countdown. But they have too many issues, and with Sigurdsson, who's going to leave, who's just the glue to that team, I definitely think they're going to go down. Maybe 18th, but I'm going to stick with 19th. In 18th, I've got Burnley there. They lost their team of the season player in Michael Keane to Everton, and I just don't think they didn't do enough in the last season to justify them losing their best player to stay up. They came in 16th. They were good defensively, but now with Michael Keane gone, they're not going to be. They didn't score too many goals. They think they scored the fourth. They scored the least in the Premier League except for the teams that got relegated. So I think that's not going to be enough, and they're just going to leak more goals in the back. Their goal difference is going to climb, and they're just going to lose more games. So 3 teams I have going down: Burnley in 18th, Swansea in 19th, Brighton in 20th. Now, my kind of surprising guess for this prediction is I don't think Huddersfield is going to go down. I don't know why. There isn't any logic to it. I just feel like they're barely going to remain in 17th, but I feel like they're going to stay in the Premier League for another year, which would be great for them. They barely made it through, and they made it up, and now they're going to stay. And if all goes to what I assume is going to happen, that'd be very, very good for the club. And then I think that when they stay, they will be able to bring in many more people to the club. Just being a Premier League, not staple, but being in the Premier League for more than 1 year shows that there isn't as much of a risk associated with joining the club as there is when people think it's going to go down next year. So it'll help out their club in the long term, and hopefully they'll stay for a couple of years. Next, in 16th, I think we're going to have West Brom, which is a little disappointing because I really like Jay Rodriguez. I don't know why. I mean, I enjoy watching him, but I enjoy him all around. I've enjoyed him for a while, and he's gone to West Brom, and I think that they're not going to. They lost Darren Fletcher, a couple of other people, but they haven't made that many signings, and they did finish really well last year. They finished in 10th, but I feel like they're going to fall off, and they're going to end up at 16th and just kind of stay the entire season around bottom half of the table. Maybe they'll drop down from like 13th to 16th at the end of the season, but I don't think they'll be able to keep themselves anywhere up the table at all. And 15th, I'm going to put Crystal Palace. Now, that is one spot lower than where they joined in. Frank DeBoer is coming in as the manager. They've had a couple of signings. No one really that notable, and I don't think they're going to keep up their scoring from how they did last year. They were the most scoring team in the bottom half of the table. I don't think they're going to be able to maintain that. I think their leaky defense, even if they get Sacco, maybe they'll go up a little bit more. I don't think they're going to get Sacco, and I think that their scoring won't sustain, and they will fall down further in the table. I don't think Frank DeBoer is going to translate too well into the Premier League for this season. I think it'll take him a little while, and I don't think their signings so far are going to have that much of an impact. So 15th is where Crystal Palace is going to end up. 14th, I have Stoke, and this is, again, a position down from where they were. I think they're really going to feel the loss of Arnautovic. I really do. I think that he's a substantial part of that team. Getting Kurt Zouma on loan from Chelsea is going to benefit them a lot, but I think that loss for Arnautovic, if they can find a replacement, then I think they will do better, but not having a good replacement for him so well is going to fare very poorly for them, and it will have pretty harsh consequence. 13th, I have Watford, and I feel like they had a bit of an off year last year. I also think Andre Gray is going to be very good for them. I think it'll make them more prolific in front of goal, and because of that, their defense won't hinder them as much as it did last year. Aside from Gray, they've had a bunch of other signings, but no one really that at least stands out to me. So I think that they'll end up 13th, kind of middle of the bottom half. And I mean, it's an improvement to last year, and that's really what you want in the Premier League, is to improve year over year. So it's headed in the right direction. In 12th, I have the third team that has come up from the Championship, and that is going to be Newcastle. Now, they've made some interesting signings. I think getting rid of Thauvin, especially after the year he had, is really interestingly poor decision by them. But they did bring in Atsu, who I think could be okay. I mean, Chelsea has a history of kind of giving away good players, like Solanke, who has been doing pretty well for Liverpool so far as a youngster, and Salah, who has made his way back to Liverpool after failing at Chelsea. I feel like Atsu could be another one of those. I feel like he hasn't really reached his potential, and on Newcastle he could do way better. He was there for a loan, so he's comfortable, and I think that he's going to perform better now than he has been. 11th, I have Leicester, and that is a position up from where they were last season. I feel like the signing of Iborra and Iheanacho specifically are going to help them a lot. Iborra is not going to be what they lost with Conte, but he's going to be part of what they lost with Conte, and it's something that they desperately needed. They were pretty leaky in front of goal, and Conte really was the glue to that. He was coming back on defense and just helping out a lot. So I think having Iborra, who is a more defensive-minded player, is going to help. And Iheanacho, I think they kind of got him at a good deal from City, because I feel like he's way better, and he just kind of sat in the depth chart of City and hasn't been able to show his potential. So I think him up there with Vardy and the rest of the lot will be able to create a decent impact and move them up to at least 11th. I kind of wanted to put them a little higher, but just because the teams I have ahead of them, I feel, are solid in their positioning, they ended up in 11th. 10th, I've got Southampton, and I believe heavily that they're going to get rid of Virgil van Dijk, simply because he's producing such an uproar in the club and just such a discomfort in the club with how he's been acting. I think he's going to go. I really hope he goes to Liverpool. That's a poor move to tap him up, and he's going to be a great defender. I just think that they're either going to spend too much effort trying to keep him and then he's going to be unhappy for an entire season, or they're going to get rid of him too late and they're not going to be able to make the moves they need necessary to get higher up in the table. So I think they're going to end up 10th this season. 9th, I've got Bournemouth, which is interesting because I feel like that's really high up the table for them, but it's also the same position they finished last season, and they've made great improvements. Bringing Aki from Chelsea, great. He was in that system until he got pulled away, and they kind of fell apart when he got pulled away from them by Chelsea. They got Begovic from Chelsea as well. They got in Jermaine Defoe, who I love watching. He's a great goal scorer, and I think he's got a couple more good years left into him. And they haven't lost too much, so I feel like they're going to do better than they did last year. But I feel like the competition in the Premier League is going to get stronger, so they're going to still stay in 9th. It's just going to be a more solidified 9th. I mean, they tied with Southampton. They lost on goal difference between 9th and 8th, but then there was a 15-point gap into 7th. So I think that gap will close, and maybe they will have the separation from the bottom of the table and them. 8th, I've got West Ham. I think that their signings in this transfer window have been fantastic. I feel like people that join Manchester United and then get sent away kind of get sent away unfairly. Like Kagawa got sent back to Borussia Dortmund. He just didn't fit. I feel like Chicharito had the same thing. He didn't really fit how Manchester United wanted him to fit, so he got sent off. I think he's going to do well in the Premier League. I think he's going to do well for West Ham. Joe Hart is another incredible signing. Great goalie. He's kind of been in some turmoil with City, getting sent out on loan, all of that, but I think he's a good goalkeeper. I think he'll do well. Arnautovic, they ended up getting as well. I feel like they could... This top 7 is just so strong that I feel like they'll end up 8th, just a little under that, but I would not be surprised to watch them go higher. I think that if they bring anyone else in, they have Zabaleta on defense. If they bring in another defender, that would help them out a lot. They really didn't lose too much quality. I feel like they're going to challenge the top 7, and I think they could break into it. It would be difficult because the top 7's coming up is very strong, but I believe that they have a squad that would be able to do it. In 7th place, I'm going to put Everton, and I have loved how they're working this transfer window. They have brought in Pickford, Klaassen, Keane, Rooney. They've brought in a lot of good people. They've lost a couple of decent players, but no one, aside from Lukaku, all that notable. They're going to struggle trying to find another striker. But, I mean, Lukaku is good, but his goal tally was really high because he slammed bad teams. He was very, very good. I'm not taking anything away from him, but I feel like they will not hurt as bad as people think they're going to hurt. I do think they need to sign a good striker. I don't know who they plan on using at this point, but I think they need another all-out striker, and then they can challenge to go very, very high up the table. And since they don't have that, I'm going to leave them at 7th. 6th, I'm going to put Arsenal. I love the signings they have. Getting Kolasinac off of a free was incredible. I really wish Liverpool would have got him. And signing Lacazette, I've just wanted to see Lacazette in the Premier League for years now. He's a very proven striker in League One, which is a little asterisk on he's a proven striker. He does well whenever he plays, though, and I'm excited to see him. I do think they're going to lose Sanchez. I wish they wouldn't, because Sanchez and Lacazette, with Ozil behind them, I think could be a great strike force to watch, and it'd be fun to watch. They have good defenders. They've got a good midfield. I feel like they have the recipe to be a great team, but I think Sanchez still isn't happy, and he's going to want to force a move out somewhere, and that's going to cause them to not get up to the potential in which they are able to. In 5th, I've got Spurs, which was very difficult for me to do, but I'm really solidified in my top 4. I know a lot of you are probably rolling your eyes because I haven't said Liverpool yet. We'll get there. But I put Spurs in 5th just because they have not brought anyone in. They're a very good team, but they're going to be playing Champions League. They lost Kyle Walker, and I feel like, I mean, it all hinges on if Harry Kane gets injured, if Dele Alli gets injured, if Son stays injured. They have a great team. I heard someone say they have the best starting 11 in the Premier League. I completely agree with that, but their depth isn't that good. And they're going to be playing a ton of games. I feel like it's just going to wear them out. And unfortunately, it's going to drop them to 5th. 5th-ish. The top 4 really tight. Spurs and even Arsenal are in there pretty decently. So this is all very going to be close, I think. I think it's going to be like 10 points between 1st and 5th. But Spurs is going to get 5th for now. 4th, I'm going to have Manchester United. And that's part of my bias, Liverpool fan. I feel like they're incredibly overrated. They should have destroyed this year. And by the way, no one cares how many trophies you win when they're poor trophies. You came in 6th in the league. I would rather get in a Champions League and come in 2nd, 3rd, 4th domestically and not win a trophy like the Community Shield than coming in 6th and trying to wave your trophies around, because you won these kind of shitty titles and then you failed domestically. There's no point in being proud for the money you spent that you couldn't get the depth that you needed to do both. To do top 4 domestically, at least you were touted to win the league. Do that and win these other trophies. So it's nothing to be proud of that they finished in 6th, which is kind of what it seems like. I do think they're really overrated. Lukaku is going to be a great striker. Does not score as much against the big teams as he should. Scores a lot against the crappy teams. I'm surprised Matic left Chelsea. It's going to be a great signing for them because Pogba's going to be able to move up the field and play like he wants to. It was just a surprising loss for Chelsea from me. But it'll help. It'll definitely help them out. I don't think it'll help them out enough. I don't think Lukaku's going to be the striker that everyone thinks he's going to be. I don't think Ibra's probably not going to come back with the injury he has. And I don't think anything of Lindelof. I think there were many better center backs they could have picked up, and I think he's not going to do well. So I'm going to put them in 4th. All right. I can hear you guys getting mad now saying that I have not put Liverpool in, and I should not put them in number 1. You're right. I'm putting them number 3. They came in 4th last season. I think they're going to make some good signings. They really haven't lost all that much. Lucas Leiva is going to be a little hard, but everyone else, really, it wasn't that big of a loss. Brought in Robertson. Great. We needed a fullback. Maybe not the one I would have picked, but he has been doing well. He's going to do the same or better than Milner just because it's his natural position, which will free up Milner to play in the midfield like he should be because he's good at it. I think Solanke has been doing really well. I'm really surprised he left Chelsea. I think given a couple of years, or if he just keeps shining like he has been, this year, next year, he's going to be a fantastic striker. He's going to be like Daniel Sturridge 2.0, I feel, but without all of the injuries, ideally. And then Salah, I hate using him in Ultimate Team, but he's a great player. I think he's going to add much-needed balance to Mane being fast on one wing, Salah being fast on the other wing, then being able to run down. I think being able to pull Coutinho off of the wing, have him play in a cam position where he can make more plays is going to benefit a lot. I do think Coutinho is going to stay. Just everything I've seen is pointing towards that. Liverpool just aren't really willing to give up, and he's not really willing to push leaving the club, which is good because if Coutinho leaves, going to be in some trouble. I think we're going to get Van Dijk. I think there's probably one more signing that we really haven't seen in the works. I think Firmino's going to start playing all-out striker. If Sturridge can stay healthy, he will also be a great striker. So I'm going to put them in 3rd. And it's a little bit of my bias, a little bit of I'm optimistic on how the rest of this is going to turn out for them. But 3rd place, I think, is fair for them. And I don't think they're going to make too far in the Champions League, unfortunately, but that'll allow them to focus their efforts in domestically. 2nd, I've put Chelsea, and I actually wavered on putting Chelsea 2nd just because they didn't really sign too many people. They're going to be playing Champions League this year. Their squad depth isn't the best, but they just played so well. They have such a good team. I don't know if Morata is going to be the striker they want. I hope he is because I enjoy seeing him. I mean, he went to Real Madrid, got overshadowed, loaned to Juventus, played well in Juventus, came back, kind of got shit on again in Real Madrid. Now he's coming to a team where he's going to be the main striker. I would love to see him and Diego Costa play together. It's not really going to happen. That Costa drama has just been a lot. I hope he plays as well as he can. Bakayoko, good signing. Rudiger's a pretty good signing. I would have loved to see Rudiger at Liverpool. Caballero's good because they got rid of Begovic because I'm assuming he wanted first team playtime, and they have Courtois there. So their signings have been good. They've lost a lot of people that I kind of didn't assume that was going to happen. So that's kind of bad. Their squad depth is going to be a question mark, but I do think they will be able to overcome it. They just have some great players on that team. Hazard, Conte. I think that they'll be able to overcome basically anything they need to. Marcus Alonso. So 2nd. I don't think they're going to win the league, but I think they're going to get close. And then number 1, the team that's going to win the league, the team that most people are saying are going to win the league, it's Manchester City. They've spent a disgusting amount of money. I have a lot of respect for Pep Guardiola as a manager. Bernardo Silva, fantastic player. Edison hopefully will kick Bravo's ass, keep him playing better, or just replace him. I think he's a great young goalie. Kyle Walker, maybe they didn't need Kyle Walker. I mean, he's kind of expensive, and I mean, I know Pep just wanted to throw money at people to get them to have the best team he could find. Kind of lost Dani Alves, which sucked, but then he went and signed Danilo. He's got Mendy. They signed a ton of right and left backs, which is a position they sorely needed. Hopefully Company stays healthy. I think they have the squad depth. I think they have the talent. I think they have everything they're going to need to just kind of destroy the Premier League. Not destroy. I think it's still going to be close, but I think they're going to be able to do well domestically and in the Champions League. I wouldn't be surprised if they made it to semis, actually. I think very, very highly of this team, and I'm just excited to watch them play. So, Manchester City, I think they're going to win the league. That is my Premier League table prediction. Let me know all of the arguments you want down in the comments below. I know there's going to be a ton of them. There always are. We'll come back and visit this once this season is over. We'll see how I did. Don't forget to subscribe here. I will start uploading FIFA videos again very shortly. All my social links are in the description below in case you want to find any of those. Like this video if you enjoyed. And until next time, I'll see everyone later. 7th, I have Everton. How many fucking trains are going to go through? This is... I don't know if I'm going to show all of them. This is the 4th train since I've started recording 18 minutes ago. Anyway, what do I want to next? It's going to be Brighton. And I don't even know if this is coming through. Oh, it's coming through.